What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another edition of the DFS OGs podcast right here on RotoGrinders.com. Week 6 edition. Can't believe we already got 5 weeks in the books. We are presented by our friends over at BetMGM. Make sure you head over there, utilize our promo code. That code is Grinders. That's going to give you a risk-free bet up to $1,000. And what a great time to take advantage of that. Baseball playoffs going on. NHL season is kicked off. NBA about a week away. We got less teams to focus on this week in the NFL. So plenty of stuff to bet on along with college football. Again, that promo code is Grinders over at BetMGM. We'll be using all of their lines and totals here in our weekly look at all of the games. Let me bring in my boys, my fellow OGs, about 40 years of experience here between the three of us, Notorious and Chop. Let's start with you this week, buddy. How was week 5? How are we doing on this fine Wednesday afternoon?
Week 5 ended up being pretty decent. Nothing spectacular, but good enough to keep us hanging on for another week and playing a little DFS. And I guess my picks weren't too good, but I got a system this week. I got a good system, so I got a feeling a 5 of 5 is incoming.
Can we get a little hint on what the said system is? I mean, Chop, you've been doing this a long time, so for you to have a new system,
it's not
suddenly
new.
in week 6 of
it's
the
an old
2022
one.
season.
It's an old one that's worked for me before.
Okay,
and I'm gonna bring it back. And it's the I haven't looked at anything until now method, and I'm just gonna get the stuff that feels good to me.
All right off the top of the dome. Yeah, Chop mentioned last week. Not great. I mean, the picks were so we'll go through that here momentarily and then look to right the ship. But good news, the survivors roll on, boys. You both advanced the survivors. So find the positives here. No, how are you, my man? How was week 5? And hopefully your picks were a little better than Chop's last week.
Yeah, they were a little better, not by much. I think we're both sitting a game below 500. But as Chop likes to say, water always finds its level. And over the last 3 years, all three of us have been well over 500 with our picks. So looking forward to a 505 week, just like Chop. Maybe I'll just copy his picks with this genius strategy.
Yeah, we'll just leave last week's picks out. We'll move on. Chop had 1, Noto had 2, I had 3. So like you mentioned, 12-13 is the record, but big week coming here. I'm sitting at 15-10 on the season. So as I tend to do, get out to a big lead. Chopper and Noto eventually catch up to me, and then we battle it out until the end. So looking forward to it. But bye weeks starting this week, so not as many games to run through here. The show shouldn't be as long here, about 45 minutes is the goal. But, guys, let's get into it. Anything you want to talk about in week 5 before we move on? Anything, any head scratchers, any injuries, anything surprise you? I mean, the Lions go to New England and get shut out as the top-scoring offense in football. No, anything from week 5 before we move on here to week 6.
Was that Colts-Broncos game the worst game we've ever seen?
Yes.
I mean, and now they're on prime time again. I think that's 5 of the first 6 weeks for Denver.
Now, we may have a contender here on Thursday night for worst game of the year. We'll see if they can top that awful game. Chop, anything from week 5 you want to discuss? Hit on injuries, teams that surprised, disappointed, anything to recap before we move on?
Chop,
you with us?
Okay, I'm back. Listen,
there he is.
There's definitely some issues on my end, so I'm going to try to be as minimal as possible on this podcast, unfortunately. But yeah, nothing big. You know, I can't think of anything right offhand. They got me, but yeah, I'm going to try to keep my interaction here a little bit lower than normal, just because I think I'm cutting out quite a bit, but we'll get through it, guys.
A little bit of technical issues, but we will make it work here as always. So let's start with this beaut of a game I was speaking about. Derek, this thing, boy, you got to be a diehard to watch this one. We'll all be watching, of course, because we're gonna bet on it. We're gonna play the 1 game slate. So we're the degenerates here of the community. But Washington and Chicago, and this opened up the Commanders as a 1-point favorite somehow with a 1-4 record. That has moved now to a pick 'em. It's actually still -1 here at BetMGM, -105 on Washington, but a pick in a lot of spots, 38 on that total, Derek. So, boy, oh boy, this is our Thursday night appetizer here. So, obviously, the first pick that comes to mind is the under. Two very bad offenses. Don't see a ton of scoring going on in this one. Chicago barely wants to throw the ball unless they have to. They're going to look to establish the run here. Washington gets Brian Robinson back. We'll see if they give him a little bit more work here. But under seems like the play here, Derek. Any other thoughts here on this ugly Thursday night game?
Yeah, really ugly game. This is one of the few showdown games where, I'd recommend maybe playing both defenses, which just seems terrible. But you mentioned the low total. Yeah, I don't like a lot here. Washington's, they've been pretty good against the run, and that's kind of what the Bears want to do every single play. Fields has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So I'm going to lean toward Washington in this one, but I don't have a strong take whatsoever. Definitely wouldn't be locking this in as a best bet.
The early betting looks like it's coming in on Chicago bets and money, about 2/3 in favor of the Bears. So, Derek, that's usually a good sign for that Washington bet. Under sitting at 64% of the bets, at 83% of the money, to no surprise. So I'll stick with that under. If anything, I would probably be with you, Derek. Small lean to Washington, but these are just two bad teams. I think we get an ugly game with very low scoring. Chop, Commanders, Bears, going with the Commanders here. You going with a total? What do you got here for this ugly Thursday night game?
I'm going Washington, not just a lean. And it's just because Wentz has played better than I expected. Justin Fields has not done anything that I've seen significant since he's been in the NFL, and he's atrocious when he gets pressured. So maybe Washington can get a little pressure here and really put him in his place. So I'll take Washington.
Did you guys see Ron Rivera throw Wentz like directly under the bus, run him over, back it up, run him over again? So who knows? He kind of backed off it a little bit, but they asked him, if you guys didn't see this, they asked him, why aren't you competing? And he just flat out said quarterback. I mean, it's that bad. So we'll see if they make a change to Heineke, Sam Howell there as well. I know Chop a lot more familiar with him than I would be, but we'll see if there's a change eventually. He's had some good games, mainly against bad defenses. Chicago's been a little bit better defensively than people thought. So we'll see if there's ever a change there, but thought that was funny. If you haven't seen that, he just flat out says quarterback. Like, yeah, Wentz sucks. So
he didn't say which quarterback. Maybe it's the backups.
Yeah. Derek's always got that optimistic view on things. I love it. So it was pretty funny though. So, all right, let's get out of that. Let's move to Sunday first game here, guys. We got Tampa and the Steelers. Tampa survives at home against the Falcons. My Falcons, they've been very good to me this season on the line, end up covering that game somehow. But now go to Pittsburgh, who absolutely got trounced. Hopefully you guys got on some of those alternate lines. Derek and I were suggesting last week with Buffalo, just absolutely rolls Pittsburgh. We got an 8.5-point spread here in favor of the road team, to no surprise. That's up from 6.5. Our total sits at 44. So, Chop, let's go to you first here. Big road favorite for our first game on Sunday. Tampa's starting to get a little bit more healthy. Godwin's starting to get a little bit more in there. Played about half the snaps. Fournette coming off a big game. Kenny Pickett on the other side. Tough ass going to Buffalo in his first start. Now back at home. He's got that out of the way. Another tough task here against a good Tampa defense. Do we get a better Pittsburgh performance here, or does Tampa roll on the road?
Well, I think you get better Pickett performance, but it's not, it's not easing up for him in the strength of defense he has to face here. So I think this number, that's 8's a pretty big number on the road. So I'm not going Tampa, but I certainly don't trust the Steelers in this one. So my lean would be Pittsburgh, but nothing big for me here.
Same with me. I don't really want to touch this game. I could see Tampa just going in and rolling. I could see Pittsburgh just kind of being pesky and hanging in this thing. And you're kind of sweating it out the whole game. And am I going to cover this 8.5 right till the end? So my lean is also towards Pittsburgh. Tampa always a pretty heavily bet a public team. So this line, like Chop said, probably a little bit inflated, probably closer to a 7.5-point spread. But no, I don't want to touch this one. I lean Pittsburgh, maybe an under here as well, but I'm going to leave this one alone. What do you got here? Bucks, Steelers.
Yeah, certainly think Tampa's going to win this game, but I was impressed by, Kenny Pickett last week. I think, his stats were a lot better than the 3 points that they ended up scoring. They missed 2 field goals. They turned it over on downs twice against Buffalo, both in Buffalo territory. So I think the offense starting to get rolling a little bit. And so I think Steelers cover at home, but not going to lock it in as a best bet.
All right, next game we have Cincinnati traveling to New Orleans, opened up as a pick'em that has ballooned to Cincinnati. Now 2-point favorites here on the road, total at 43. So Derek, we'll stay with you. Saints got somewhat healthier. I mean, Alvin Kamara's back looked good. Taysom Hill doing his couple times a year Taysom Hill things, 4 touchdowns in that game last week. Still have question marks on Jameis Winston, Michael Thomas. Other side, T. Higgins, we saw barely play. He's still banged up. So a lot of injuries to work through here on a Wednesday. But Derek, we'll do our best just looking at this game, assuming who's in and out. Do the Bengals deserve to be a road favorite here is my first question. Secondly, you going on this line or you grabbing a total in this one?
I'm going to go with another home underdog here. I think New Orleans, I think with Andy Dalton and, more Taysom Hill, I think they're a better team in terms of their win potential. As somebody that had Alvin Kamara and DFS, certainly didn't like Taysom just going nuts last week. But still, I think they're playing a little bit better. I think they're better than their 2-3 record shows. Historically been a very good team at home. And they can get pressure on the quarterback. That's kind of been the Achilles heel for the Bengals, has been their offensive line ability to keep Joe Burrow upright. So give me the Saints at home.
I'm with the Saints as well. Andy Dalton revenge game. I mean, sign me up for that as well. So a lot of public money and bets coming in on Cincinnati. So that's kind of driven the line up. I think the Saints are fine. They get healthier, the better. If it's Winston, a small upgrade to me. They've played well with Dalton. They're working in Taysom Hill. Kamara's back. Olave also will have to keep an eye on. His concussion didn't look great last week. So they may be thin on pass catchers, but Chop, you're generally a Saints guy. So catching points at home, this feels like a best bet coming here for the Chop, man.
This is not a best bet. I've not been impressed by the Saints, so I don't really like this game very much. I'll lean towards the over. It's a low number, so I'll lean towards the over, but Saints right now, they got to get things together, man, before I can start trusting them again.
All right, let's move on to Derek's team, Jacksonville. Coming off, Derek, what happened last week? I mean, a smash spot at home against Houston, and they just lay a dud as good as they've looked. It was kind of surprising last week to see that, but we'll see if they bounce back here. We'll get to you in a minute here, Derek. We'll start with Chop. Jaguars and Colts, our next game, opened at Colts -2.5. That has been bet down to Indy -1 here at BetMGM. There's still 1.5. There's still 2s out there. So big spread on this one at all the different shops. 42 is the total here, Chop. So again, Jacksonville looking great and then goes out and scores 6 points against Houston at home. So what do they do here against this Colts team who's been very up and down? We know injuries here as well. We got to wait on Jonathan Taylor. We saw Nyheim Hines leave that game early as well. So question marks there with these Colts running backs. But Chop, Colts going back home. Spreads on the move. Almost a pick 'em here. Who you got here? Jacksonville and Indy.
Yeah, I think maybe we crowned Jacksonville a little bit prematurely there. And the Colts, we have buried them for good reason. They haven't looked particularly good this entire season. With all that being said, we look up and one team's 2-3 and one team's 2-1. It's not like the Colts are in the bottom of the basement of the division. They're still a 500 team. Back at home, I think they will start righting the ship. So I'm going to assume it's going to start happening this week, where it actually started happening last week with a nice little lucky win in Denver. But I'll take the Colts here as a best bet. Lock it in.
I'm going best bet here as well with the Colts. So 2 for 2 here. The spread just seems a little bit too low. A little nervous about the line movement here, and the injuries. We'll see. We may have to back this off if they're not running one of these running backs out there. But as of now, Derek, 2 for 2 against your team here, buddy. You going to fight back with Jacksonville, or are you joining us and making it 3 for 3 on the Colts?
Yeah, the last time Chop locked in his best bet against the Jags, the Eagles just torched them, and I joined him on that train, and I'm going to do the same with you guys. So 3 best bets for Indy. Look, if they win this game, it's going to be 5 years in a row where they beat Jaguars at home and they lost to them in Jacksonville. I just think for whatever reason, Jacksonville has their number when they're, in Jacksonville, but when it's in Indy, they seem to be, the better team. And man, Jags 2-1, 14-point lead against the Eagles, and now they're 2-3 after just an embarrassing loss at home to the Texans. So I think, with the momentum the Colts got after that win, I think you take them here at home.
All right, 3 for 3 on the Colts. Again, over the years, all three of us are on a bet. It's historically been pretty good. I'm not going to go back and tally the record or anything, but you're welcome to do that if you'd like. And while you're doing that, make sure you give the podcast a thumbs up, a 5-star review, whatever it may be, wherever you are listening. We appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out here with the OGs talking week 6. All right, let's get to the next game. These two teams were two of my favorite bets last week. New England was my favorite bet against the Lions. Obviously, we know how that one went. Cleveland just squeaks by. Had them plus 2.5. They end up losing by 2. I do have another best bet here with these two teams, but Derek, I'm going to toss it to you here first. Both teams 2-3. Both teams desperately need a win here to kind of keep things afloat. You don't want to go to 2-4 here. So what are you doing here? AFC, Patriots, and Browns.
Yeah, first off, I'm excited to see Ramondre Stevenson in that RB1 role. I think he's going to be one of the better DFS plays of the week. Both of these teams bottom 5 in DVOA against the run. So I could see some big numbers from these running backs. I'm just going to take the home team. We don't know who's going to be under center for New England just yet, but I haven't seen a whole lot from Zappe that makes me believe he's going to win on the road. So I'll take the Cleveland Browns. I know they continue to lose games that they shouldn't, but maybe they get this one.
Yeah, Ramondre in that role should be great. Nick Chubb should continue to feast on bad defenses. The guy's been awesome this year. So two teams that really want to get the run going here. I am locking in the home team here as a best bet. I'm not buying it with New England. I just think it was a perfect storm last week. They knew that Detroit team very well. They were without a lot of their weapons. New England has been a pretty big disappointment this season. So, yeah, they got a big win. I think part of that is fueling this line here. This one feels a little light here. I like Cleveland a lot in this spot here, Chop. So Cleveland, my second best bet of the week. What do you got here, Patriots and Browns?
Oh, shoot. I think we're on the same page. I'm locking in Cleveland.
All right.
I'm just not a New England guy this year. I think they're bad. Cleveland should probably be better than 2-3 right now. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll take Cleveland.
Cleveland could really be 5-0. I mean, you look back, it was the Jets game that they pissed away. It was the game in Atlanta where they had all the opportunities in the world to win that game. Same last week against the Chargers. They had all the opportunity to win that game. So this is not a 2-3 team, and Brissett's played a lot better than people expected here. So Cleveland for Chop and I as another best bet. Let's go to Jets and Packers up next. Both teams sitting at 3-2. Never thought we'd say that here about the Jets a couple weeks ago. But here they are, spread sitting at 7.5 in favor of Green Bay. That's down from the 9.5 at open, total at 45.5. Another best bet coming up for me here. So going to rock another one, but I'm going to go Chop here. My Packers let one go here against the other New York team in London. Now the Jets come into town fresh off a huge win against Miami, who basically was on their third-string quarterback, Skylar Thompson. But Jets have been impressive here, Chop. Best bet coming up, but I'm going to toss it to you here. What are you doing, Jets and Packers?
My turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. This is a guessing game with me right now because
you're in there, man. Didn't skip a beat. Jets, Packers, baby. What are you doing?
I'm just taking shots in the dark here. All right, I'm saying can't lock in anything. Just the Green Bay's kind of disappointed me a little. I really thought that they could, do some things against the Giants. They didn't get it done, so I'm gonna hesitate to pull the trigger on them too much. But I do lean towards Green Bay here, but this is not a best bet for me.
I'm going to lock in the Jets here. I said this in my write-up last week, and all three of us do content for scoresandodds.com. If you have not checked that out, we give picks in all of the different sports, so make sure you do that. Can subscribe to it, get some premium picks as well. But Green Bay does not deserve to be a 7, 8, 9-point favorite over anybody right now. What have they done to show us they deserve to be that big of a favorite? And they go and they lose that game outright in New York, in London against the Giants. So Noto, again, Lambeau Field, great. They should be 6-7 point favorites here, but the opening of 9.5 was ridiculous. So hopefully people jumped on that. For it to be even more than a touchdown, I know there's questions about Zach Wilson, but that defense playing well. Breece Hall has been playing well. There's a lot of weapons in the passing game. It's too many points here. I'm going against my team. Of course, I hope they win. I hope the Jets cover that 7.5. Best bet for me on the New York Jets. Noto, what do you got here?
Man, we're just going against our teams this week. I haven't been that impressed with the Jets. I know they won the last 2 games. The Steelers, pretty wild comeback win for them. And then, last week they beat a 7th-round rookie quarterback. But I'm not going to go against you. I'm just going to take the under since, Wilson's been under center. They've been a lot more balanced. So they've been running the ball a lot more. We know Green Bay wants to run the ball. So I'm just going to hope for a lower scoring game and take the under. And by my count, we've agreed on 4 of the 6 games, all 3 of us so far, which is pretty crazy. So if you want to fire up that 4-teamer, we can do it.
Absolutely. Who doesn't love a big parlay? It should be a small part of what you're doing in the betting world. Some people tell you never to play parlays. They're fun. Once in a while, a small one, get some of them 4 or 5 teamers going and give yourself a little bit of a sweat. So there you go. All right, let's go to the other New York team. Baltimore coming in to face the surprising 4-1 New York Giants. A lot of word out there. The worst 4-1 team we've ever seen. Well, the market maybe agree here. Baltimore, 6-point favorites here at BetMGM. Lines for anywhere from 5 to 6 here on this one. Total sitting at 45. So, Derek, we'll go to you here. A little disrespectful here to the Giants almost. And Baltimore, it's been a lot of close games. Does that lead you to the home team here taking the points, or the Ravens roll these fraudulent Giants, as people are claiming out there?
Don't understand how the Giants keep winning these games. They seem to be getting all the breaks just at the right moments. And the Ravens, they lost another piece in their secondary. So it's just like whoever's starting back there just continues to get hurt week in and week out. I'm leaning towards Baltimore. I think eventually the Giants are just going to come back down to earth. But I don't want to, lock in the best bet at 5.5. That's just too much on the road.
Yeah, this feels like one of them traps. Like they want you to say, how in the hell could the Giants be 6-point underdogs at home? You got to lock in the Giants. I don't have a strong feeling on this game. And the Giants, maybe they are good, maybe they're not. And maybe this is the test that we need to see with Lamar Jackson and company coming in. But they're pretty banged up too. I mean, Rashad Bateman may not play again. Dobbins is still on a snap count. So they're not overly healthy. You mentioned the secondary. Giants without wide receivers. They're rolling Darius Slayton out there as their wide receiver 1 these days. So a lot of questions in this game. Chop, are you stepping into this bear trap here? Giants catching points at home, or does Baltimore just come in and roll them?
I'm not sure. I'm with Noto. It's tough to tell right now. I don't like the Giants. Don't impress me, but Baltimore hasn't put teams away. So I'm kind of neutral on this thing. I'd probably just roll with the under here as a lean and be done with it. I really can't put my finger on the pulse of either one of these teams.
Let's move on. Minnesota and Miami Vikings sitting at 4-1. They are the favorites in this one. Big line movement here with the quarterback questions in Miami. Started Miami -1. It is now Vikings -3.5. Total at 46 in this one. So do we get to Teddy Bridgewater? Seems like that's a no-go. It's Skylar Thompson. It sounds like he may be the starter this week, Chop. So you're pretty familiar with him from his college days. Vikings continue to get it done. One of those teams, again, are they good? Are they not good? We're not sure here. Tough task here on the road in Miami, but they're in the 3rd-string quarterback. Tough draw here for the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill also dealing with an injury on the Miami side. So another game with a lot of injury questions, Chop. What are you doing here, Vikings and Dolphins?
Yeah, you said it. You just said it. I'm familiar with Skylar Thompson from his college days. A lot of people might not be. You lock me in the Vikings. Lock them in.
He's that bad. Kansas State, if I remember correctly. Is that right? Skylar Thompson? Oh.
Skylar? All I heard was Skylar Thompson.
Kansas State, is that correct?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Okay.
He didn't particularly impress me very much in college. I don't know how he made an NFL roster. I guess stranger things have happened, but yeah, I'm not impressed at all. So this offense is going to be stale. So give me the Minnesota, lock them in.
Best bet, lock him in.
Best bet, lock
All
that
right,
thing
Chop
in.
locking in the Vikings as his third best bet. Noto, let's go to you. Third string quarterback, potentially no Tyreek Hill. Vikings mostly healthy on that side and become big road favorites here. What are you doing? Minnesota and Miami.
I'm curious to know what this strategy is that Chop's employing, but I'm going to tell him on this one as well. Love Minnesota here. Tyreek Hill's banged up. I mentioned the quarterback play for Miami. And then, hey, let's check the Kirk Cousins flow chart. Is this in prime time? Nope. Okay. Vikings are 4-0 during the day games this season. Lock in the Vikings for me.
And Cousins made some comments that he's starting to get a little bit more comfortable in this offense. You're starting to see it. Love the flow chart here. So I'm likely with you guys. I'm not locking in the best bet. If it ends up it is Skylar Thompson, which that is the word, maybe I'll jump on board this with you. So definitely 3 for 3 on Minnesota here. 2 best bets from Chop and Noto on the Vikings. All right, let's go to our last game in the early window. San Francisco now 3-2 traveling to take on my Atlanta Falcons. 2-3 here, 5.5 point spread at BetMGM. Total at 44.5. And look, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to continue to ride the Atlanta Falcons. They continue to get disrespected. It's ugly. I don't know how they keep covering games, but they continue to do it here. And I know a lot of people are going to look at last week. San Francisco went into Carolina, rolled the Panthers. They're going to do the same here to Atlanta. I'm taking Atlanta in the points. My 4th best bet, locking in the Falcons. Believe they have covered every single game this season. So the bubble going to burst eventually, but I'm going to continue to ride that train. Falcons, best bet. Derek, what do you got here? Niners and Falcons.
Yep, 5-0 against the spread for the Falcons this season. And without that egregious, roughing the passer call, they would have had a chance to beat the Buccaneers last week. That was 2 egregious roughing the passer calls. We also had one on Monday night against Derek Carr where he had the ball, the defender had the ball in his hands before he even got on top of Derek Carr. But anyway, at this point, let's just ride the Falcons. 5-0 against the spread. It might be a backdoor cover, but they count all the same. I do think San Fran will win this game, but at this point, no reason to get away from it.
Kyle Pitts back practicing. Don't even know what that's worth anymore these days, but a little bit of an update there. So I just think they're pesky enough on both sides of the ball here to stay in this game. And maybe the Niners are a juggernaut. Maybe Chop's going to come in here and tell us, you guys are nuts. Niners are going to roll here. Chop, what are you doing here? San Fran, Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, you got some serious echo here. We'll give him a minute here. See what happens.
Okay.
Here. There
you
he
ready?
goes. Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Sheesh. All right. It's a rough day. I'm sweating, man. But
this is what happens when old men and technology come together.
I would say that I probably haven't picked right with Atlanta all year long, and you have. So I'm going to defer to you. I have absolutely zero lean. But if you say Atlanta, I'll take them because I'm not going against them anymore. Like they've beat me every which way this year.
All right, 3 for 3 on the Falcons here. My 4th best bet. So 1 bullet left for me. All right, let's get into the late window here. First game, Carolina, fresh off firing their coach here. So we'll see what changes come. Also, sounds like PJ Walker, yes, the old XFL quarterback, may draw the start here this week with Baker Mayfield. Banged up, they traveled to LA to take on the Rams. This open Rams minus 8.5. It has gone all the way to 11 here at BetMGM. Total at 41.5, Chop. So 2 of the biggest disappointing teams. The Rams are more of they're coming off a Super Bowl disappointing. The Panthers were supposed to be one of those upstart. Baker Mayfield, we're going to be better. They have been a disaster as well. Is this spread too high, though? This seems like a lot of points for a Rams team that offensively has looked horrendous, Chop.
I would say that it's probably where it really makes you think. What makes me think, what do I want to do with it? It makes me hesitate. So I'd say it's at the right mark. If you lower it anymore, I'm going to pound the Rams. because PJ Walker, I don't think he's shown anything in the NFL that screams that he's going to ignite this offense. And the Rams really need to win. And so, yeah, Aaron Donald eating up that offensive line, getting to PJ Walker. I could see that over and over again. So it makes me think. I think it's high enough to where it makes you think. So I don't have a lock or anything. I would lean the Rams here, though.
I would lean the other way just because it's been ugly for both sides. I have the same exact concerns that you do, though, and that's why I don't really want to go out and bet on the Carolina Panthers. Very, very small lean, and it's mainly based on the fact that the Rams have been awful. That offensive line, awful. Now, can Carolina generate enough pressure? Probably not. So lean towards Carolina, but I'm going to pass on this game. Derek, what do you got here, Carolina and the Rams?
I'm going to lock in the Rams as a best bet for the reason that you just said. I don't think Carolina is going to get any pressure on the Rams. They've been forced to dink and dunk with their offense just because they haven't been able to, keep Stafford upright. Look at the adjusted sack rate. Panthers are 30th in the NFL. They didn't get any pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo last week when Trent Williams was out. I believe another one of their offensive linemen was out as well. So it's a get right spot for the Rams, similar to the Bills last week. I like, looking at some of those adjusted lines in this one.
All right, let's go to NFC West. A couple teams sitting at 2 and 3 here. Arizona and Seattle. Arizona, the road favorite here at 2.5 over Geno and company. Total sitting at 50.5. So very high total in this one, as you'd expect, Derek. Let's stay with you here. I was a little surprised to see Arizona as the favorite in this game. Seattle has been competitive, been playing well offensively. The defense, obviously, we know. Still some question marks there, but Arizona's been bad. This is another one that the line doesn't feel right. I want to take Seattle, but I'm likely going to leave this one alone. What are your thoughts here? Were you surprised as well that Arizona is the favorite here in this one?
Yeah, a little surprising. They did play well last week against Philly, so maybe that's why. And I'll give my weekly update on their first quarter scoring. Cardinals have yet to score in the first quarter, so maybe hit that Seattle first quarter line. And then, bring it back with some live action on the Cardinals, something like that. But I'm with you. I don't have a strong take on this one. I would lean toward the home team just because I don't trust Kingsbury at all. And Geno just continues the ball. I would lean towards the home team.
Which you had that written up, didn't you, this week? First quarter, first half as well for Philly?
Oh, not yet, but last week.
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say thanks because I was reading that, jumped on it, and made a lot of sense. So maybe that's the play here as well. They do get off to a slow start. They tend to come back in the second half. So if anything, maybe a first quarter, first half bet on Seattle. So again, just some of the stuff you'll find at Scores and Odds in some of the premium write-ups. So if you haven't yet, go and check it out today. There's subscriptions, all different levels. So go and get subscribed. Chop, Seattle, Arizona, same. Were you surprised to see Arizona as a favorite here? Does it fit what you thought would happen in this one?
No, I like it. Lock it in. Lock it in. Best bet for me, Arizona.
All right.
I just still think Seattle's overachieving. I think Arizona's underachieving. I think these things correct course at some point, and so I'm rolling with Arizona here.
There we go. Fourth best bet for Chop, the Arizona Cardinals on the road in Seattle. All right, let's get to the game of the week, the game of the century. Last two times these two teams played, it was one of the best games we've ever seen in the NFL. We got Buffalo and the Chiefs. It's open Kansas City -1. That is up to Buffalo -3 here at BetMGM. Those odds sitting at even. If you want to get on Buffalo, -120. On Kansas City, total at 54. So, Chop, should be an awesome game. What are you doing here, Buffalo and the Chiefs?
Yeah, so first of all, I subscribe to the theory that something like this, neither one of these teams, these coaches are going to show their best stuff right now because they know that there's a really good chance there's a collision course down the road. And they don't want to have their blueprint laid out. So with that being said, obviously both of these guys really want to win this thing because this could be the difference between this game being in KC or Buffalo in January. So I think it means more to Buffalo. I think Buffalo is the better team all around. and I think that they want to have this game in Buffalo really, really bad down the road. So I'm going to lock in best bet Buffalo here.
Yeah, it's a lot of line movement as well. I mean, 4 points. And I read this first time Patrick Mahomes is an underdog at home in his career. So Derek Chop's confident in Buffalo. I'm leaving this one alone. This is one I just kind of want to sit back and watch. Not sure how it's going to play out. I tend to agree with Chop. Buffalo, certainly in my eyes, the better team here, but Kansas City at home, never an easy ask. So I'm not going to lock a best bet in here. I lean Buffalo. Chop's got the best bet on the Bills. What are you doing here, Noto?
First of all, can we switch this game with the Broncos on Monday night,
That's
please?
what I was like. How the hell is this not a primetime game?
Oh, I don't get it. But, yeah, I'm kind of with Chop on this one. I lean toward Buffalo. Look, the quarterback's pretty even. I would say Kelsey is a big edge towards KC. And then every other position, I'd probably give the edge to the Bills. I think their defense is a lot better. I think their receivers are a lot better. So when these two teams played during the regular season last year, Buffalo beat them pretty easily. And then obviously KC clipped them in the playoffs. So I think it means more to Buffalo. I'm going to go with them just because I think they're the best team in the NFL.
All righty, let's move on. Now, Derek, you still got 2 bullets left. Was that a best bet, or are you saving them for the primetime games?
Not a best bet. I might have to circle back. I'm still trying to figure out, Chop, is it just road favorites? Is that your strategy?
Well, I already said my strategy is that I didn't look at it till I came in here, and I'm just winging it. So
I thought it was
going off the dome.
Okay,
yeah,
my bad.
winging stuff, man.
All right,
first look, first impressions.
There you go. Hey, that's the saying. That's usually right. Your gut instinct on the first call. All right, let's go to Sunday night. We got Dallas taking on the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Open Philly -4.5. That's gone up to Philly -6. Total at 42. We did get word Cooper Rush going to start here once again for the Dallas Cowboys. He has not lost the start, so I can see why they want to continue to roll him out here. Philadelphia been very, very impressive. Squeaked one out last week in Arizona. So, Derek, NFC East here, 2 teams playing very well. Does this undefeated streak continue for the Eagles?
I think the Eagles keep it rolling. I think they're the better team on both sides. I do like the Cowboys defense quite a bit, but I just think they're going to face a much different test with Jalen Hurts. So I'm taking Eagles as a best bet. And Chop, the local radio, are they talking some quarterback controversy there in Dallas?
Oh, my God. There's always going to be some idiots talking some nonsense, right? The guy threw for 102 yards last week, and there's a controversy. Listen, here's the thing. First of all, man, this is – when you see something like this graphic here on when you see 68% of bets on one team but 64% of the money on the other – that's a very telling figure in sports betting. That means Philly is definitely the side you want to be on. If I was going to bet this thing, I'd lean toward – I'd say Philly. I'm not going to lock it in. I've already used up my 5, I believe. But Philly would definitely be the side I would be on. No, there's no controversy. What you got to do, though, is Dak needs to learn some lessons from Cooper Rush, which is number 1, don't throw the interceptions. If you have this defense, you have this team around you, this running game, Tony Pollard, just don't turn the ball over. Don't take sacks. Cooper Rush has been real good about getting out of there and throwing the ball away, not taking a sack. And then when he does scramble, he doesn't throw it into traffic. Throw it away. Don't turn the ball over. And the Kellen Moore keeps calling these kind of plays. This team can go a pretty decent ways in the playoffs, or at least make the playoffs and win a game. But there's no controversy. Cooper Rush isn't doing anything but not turning the ball over. That's fantastic. But that's all you got to do with this defense.
I'm locking in Philly here as well. I mean, this is the biggest test that he's going to face. I mean, he's played well, no doubt. And last week, going on the road and beating the Rams, maybe that was the biggest test. We know the Rams have not been playing at the level that we are used to. I just think Philly defensively is going to really be able to stifle him and this running game and do enough offensively against this very good Dallas defense that maybe it's an ugly game. Maybe it's a 20-10 type game, but I'm locking in Philly. Chop mentioned the betting splits as well, something that you should be looking at. Another reason to check out scores and odds, a big discrepancy there between the bets and the money, which a team like Dallas always makes a lot of sense. They're a very public bet team. They're seeing the bets. Philadelphia's seeing the money. So I'm with the money here. I'm on the other side. Philly, my fifth best bet here. Let's go to Monday Night Football, AFC West battle. Denver 2-3 taking on the Chargers, sitting at 3-2. Spread has moved from Chargers -4 up to 5.5. Total at 45.5. Chop, close us up here, buddy. Monday Night Football, Broncos, Chargers. What do you got?
Boy, Broncos again in prime time. It's ugly out here,
man.
But it is what it is. That's the NFL made their bed. Now they got to lie in it. But I do like the Chargers though in prime time. Always a fan of seeing their team play in these island games. It's just a bad matchup here, but maybe Russell eventually snaps out of it. I don't have a major lean here. Maybe a slight lean towards the Chargers. I just think that they're a really good team that's going to give – I think they're going to be a tough team to get out in the playoffs by the time they roll around if it's healthy. So I'll lean the Chargers here.
I slight lean for me the other way with Denver, but no strong feelings, no best bets here. I do think this will be a competitive game. The Chargers, to me, the more talented team. We've all talked about how good we think the Chargers are. Denver, it's been up, it's been down, mostly down. Russell Wilson a little bit banged up. You lose Javonte Williams a couple weeks ago. So I lean Denver just because the Chargers tend to find themselves in close games. They even when they get out to a lead, they let the other team back in. I just think it's going to be a competitive game. So, again, no best bet for me, but I'll go Denver here for my pick. Noto, close us up here. Monday Night Football, Denver and the Chargers.
Give me the under. These two teams are, two that I never get right. We got Russell Wilson dealing with an injury. You obviously talk about the loss of Javonte Williams. The best way to beat the Chargers this season has been on the ground, and I do worry about the Broncos running game. So give me the under. And yeah, to you guys' point, if you do want to look at, the percentage of money, percentage of bets, all you got to do is make an account on Scores and Odds, and you can see all that stuff for free.
Yeah, Denver, surprisingly here, another big split. I think this one will change. The Philly one seems legit. This one seems like it's constantly adjusting as well, so which is a beautiful thing. As money and bets come in, these things adjust. So wouldn't be surprised to see this one move around a little bit. So best bets recap, Chop on Indianapolis at home against Jacksonville. He's got Cleveland at home against New England, Minnesota on the road in Miami, Arizona on the road in Seattle, and Buffalo on the road in Kansas City. Noto, I got you for the Colts, the Vikings, the Rams, the Eagles, and need one more, buddy. Got to circle back. Give us another winner.
Give me the Steelers, plus 8.5 at home.
All right, Pittsburgh, the fifth best bet for Noto. I am rolling with the Colts. All three of us have that. I'm rolling with Cleveland. Chop and I on that one. I am taking the Jets with the points in Lambeau Field. I'm going to roll with my Atlanta Falcons another week, see if it continues to roll down the road. And I'm with Noto on Philadelphia in that game against the Cowboys. Survivor picks, fellas. Who are we rolling with for Survivor this week? Noto, who you got?
Give me the Rams. I'll take the free square.
All right, Noto rolling with the Rams. Chop, Survivor pick here in week 6. Not a ton of big favorites.
I'm going with him. I'm doing the same thing.
Rams?
Yeah, that one stands out to me. So
yeah, that's the easy one. I guess Tampa's probably another one people will be looking at.
Did we use Tampa last week?
I
don't even know who we've used. So
I used the Bills, and then I think we've all used the Packers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you use the Pack. I'd have to look, Chop.
Okay. Yeah, lock me in the Rams, and I think the strategy here is just let other people make the mistakes at this point. So let's just take as many heavy favorites as we can and get through this thing.
Yeah, sometimes you just take the layup. People overthink this thing sometimes, and the Rams should, I say, be a layup here. Guys, one more. I want to add your favorite bet of the week. We all get 5 best bets. Do you have a favorite of the group? I want to start working this in every week. Some people aren't betting, 4 or 5 games at a time. They want the one bet that they can put their money on. Does anything stand out? I'm kind of putting these guys on the spot here, but Derek, if you had to pick one of the best bets, anything stand out to you?
I'm going with our 3-way lock in the Colts. Hard to not like them at home against my team. And also have a best NBA bet. Get it while you can. Zion Williamson, comeback player of the year, plus 1,800 right now. I think that number is going to come down as we see more of his preseason.
Wow, there you go, a little NBA. I'm gonna rush to the stand and get that one in. I like that one, 18-1 on Zion, who's looking chiseled here. So Zion Williamson, a little NBA action here. Chop, do you have a favorite amongst your best bets here for the week?
Sure. Is Zion in a contract year? Because one thing we know is guys in contract years, man.
Unfortunately, he just got a max contract, so that might be working against him.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of detractors out there. If he wants to go that route,
it's amazing how good Josh Jacobs looks this year in that contract year. But yeah, my best bet, man. This is really tough for some people to swallow because they think it's a real toss up with it. But it's going to be the Bills. I've said I think they're the best team in the NFL. I don't think that's changed. I think as long as we can get this thing under a field goal, it's kind of the magic number in the NFL. I think Buffalo is – I just can't see them losing this. They lost the one game, and it was a fluke of a game, I think. I don't think they lose this one.
Yeah, I think that'll settle in under a field goal. I would be surprised if it went any further. So I like both of those. I thought about Indy. I'm not on the Buffalo as a best bet. I'm going to go Cleveland as my best bet here. I think they handle this New England team. I'm with Chop. He's said multiple times, not a believer in this team. I am not either. Ramondre is going to do fine in this matchup, but whether it's Zappy, Hoy, I don't really care who the quarterback is. Even if Mac Jones makes a return, to me, Cleveland just a much better team. They're going to be able to run all over this New England team as well. So Cleveland, my favorite bet of the week. All right, that'll do it here for week 6 of the DFS OGs pod. Again, presented by BetMGM. Make sure you head over there and take advantage of our promo code. That's Grinders, risk-free bet up to $1,000. Not sure how long that promotion will last, so take advantage of it. We appreciate their sponsorship here of the show. Final thoughts, guys, for the people here, week 6. Noto, we'll start with you, buddy. What do you got?
Oh, been a fun pod. Always appreciate you guys listening. Let's get some 5-0 weeks there, Chop.
Here we go. 5-0, the new system. We're going to test the new system here this week. The new old system, as he likes to say. But I love that fresh first look of things here on the Wednesday. Chop, final thoughts for the people, buddy. What do you got?
I just need to get off here and go reset my router, man. This is ridiculous.
Internet issues. We made it through, though, unscathed. So thank you to everybody for tuning in again this week. Best of luck with your bets and your DFS. For Chop, for Noto, I am Beer. We are the DFS OGs here on RotoGrinders. Good luck. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week. Kick off the new pro football season with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up at BetMGM using bonus code GRINDERS, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, D.C., West Virginia, Wyoming, or Ontario only. Must be 21 years or older to wager. 19 or older in Ontario. New customer offer only. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, D.C., Kansas, Louisiana, Nevada, Wyoming, or Virginia. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER in Indiana, Maryland, New Jersey, or West Virginia. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789 in Tennessee, or call 1-888-777-9696 in Mississippi and Ontario. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Ohio, and Utah, and other states where prohibited. Promotional offers not available in Nevada and New York.